Hello, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me in another of my wonderful interviews. I don't know if you've been one of those people who've been out and about and you've suddenly been thrust a newspaper into your hand and thought, hang on a minute, I don't recognise this. This isn't the big issue. Well, the big issue is probably not telling you the big issue, whereas the light paper, of course, is giving you the unadulterated truth, the stuff that's going on, the things that we actually need to know. Never mind all that mainstream media nonsense that's biased and full of lies. We need stuff that will inform us up to date in black and white in our hand, that isn't digital, that can tell us what's going on. And of course, many of my viewers will be very familiar to the light paper. And in fact, I've had Darren from The Light on before, but today, a bonus. We're going to have Darren and Richard from The Light because something wonderful has been produced for Christmas this year. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Darren, first of all, hello, welcome along. Nice to have you back.
Hi, Richard. Thanks so much for inviting us and and having us back again. It's always fun to be here.
Fantastic. And Richard, let's see you. Hello.
Hello, Richard. Hello, Richard. Nice to see you again after last weekend. Yeah.
Yes, you and I were met up at the One Small Town initiative in just south of Colchester. Not Colchester. What am I talking about? South of Stroud. That's it. I'm all over the place. And what a lovely time it was to see all those wonderful people gathered together, looking for inspiration and hope. And that's something that the light paper also gives us, as well as some hard-hitting news, it has to be said. Now, I've got to hear a graphic. Let me just show this to the lovely viewer. This is your, hang on a minute, get it correct. This is the paper in question for those people who've never heard of it. The Uncensored Truth, The Light. This is you can of course get it online, but it's fantastic to have it as a newspaper. Lots of different amazing articles. Look at that. You can see the sort of stuff. This is the current edition. There's Kojak. In fact, there's a couple of bald people in the episode. There we are. James Corbett. He's another baldy. And if I look down there, there's that unusual-looking character. But you've put together something here called the Brightest of the Light, which is an anthology of some of the best articles that you have produced this year. That's my understanding. Am I correct, gentlemen?
Not quite. It's from the first 3 years. So
from the first. I beg your pardon.
First issue to issue 36. Yeah.
So when was the Light launched?
August 2020. Darren will know the date. I think it was August 2020, wasn't it, Darren?
August is when we got started. The first issue was actually September.
Right. So it's not. I mean, it's been a fantastic success, and it has been embraced by, of course, loads of people in the truth and freedom movement to find out what's going on. I mean, it's so commendable of you gents to be able to keep this going, because in many instances people get it for free, and it's being handed out by lots of volunteers up and down the land, which is just superb, and a chance for people to get rid of their normal newspaper and read something which actually informs them of the real truth that's going on. So tell me.
The normal newspaper is not a normal newspaper, is it? That's the point. And I think people are really hungry for the truth, and they want to know what's really going on, why things aren't working, and why the politicians are saying one thing and things are going the other. So that's probably why it's been successful, as well as you say, all the volunteers, all the truth and freedom activists up and down the country who've engaged with the Light and know what a useful tool it can be, and obviously the connections it's made as well.
Yes, and of course it's not just you two doing it. There's lots of people putting and sending in articles and feeding in news and all of that, which is what makes it possible, I guess.
Yeah, completely. There's no way I could do it all myself. I mean, there's a core team of 10 or 12 people, and then there are warehouse hubs who do an incredible amount of work, and then there's hundreds of distributors all over the country, and then obviously there's the people who actually go out in the towns and on the roundabouts and all the rest of it, handing out copies to the public. And it's just wonderful that all the feedback now, obviously we started, don't forget, in the middle of lockdown.
Yes.
And it was almost illegal. It was almost illegal to go and post a paper in your neighbour's doors. And, it was a very, very different atmosphere to now, very different environment to now. And the response from the general public now is also very, very different to what it was 2 years ago. 90% are open to it. They're asking for more. They've got the latest edition, etc., etc. Whereas most people were suspicious and didn't want to know any unofficial information. During the COVID era.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, Richard, go on.
Well, just to add to that, we've been handing it out on the high street here in Stroud for 2.5 years now, and as exactly what Daz has just said, the change is just huge. Whereas at the beginning of that process, it was really hard work giving it out. We were persuading people to take it. Now we have people champing at the bit for the new issue to actually come out, and as soon as we arrive with it, we get swamped with people coming up wanting the new issue. And I've been waiting for this. I'm so glad it's here. So that's a huge change over a couple of years. It really is. Yeah.
Presumably the circulation has or the print run has increased.
Yeah, the first one that we did back in September of 2020 was 20,000 copies, and that would have been an achievement by itself. But at the height of were they going to do the second lockdown of December, heading into December 2022? Is that right? 21 might have been 300,000 copies. That we raised basically every single month and got to 300,000 copies at a peak. We're about half of that now, and that's been pretty consistent. It's kind of peacetime at the moment. They're not putting a lot of pressure on people. The calm before the storm. So the fact that it's still going, the fact that people still want to distribute the news and let people know what's going on, because you have to. I mean, look, the enemy are 24/7. They're not once a month. They're not here and there. It's on posters and billboards and out the radio, and from every angle, people are getting the propaganda. And so, if we're gonna be part of the breaking of the mass formation psychosis, Nietzsche said, in individuals, madness is pretty rare, but in crowds and in parties and in groups, it's actually the rule. And we can look back over history and see how mad whole societies and civilizations have been. And obviously we can absolutely see it today, but most people obviously can't see it. They're still under the influence of a schooling system, and then a media system, and obviously a corporate system and all the rest of it that molds them and encourages them to be and think a certain way. So we're just everybody knows we're just offering an alternative perspective on that. We get labelled as far right and anti-Semitic and spreading hate and disinformation and all the rest of it. Now, if you're still married to the BBC, then you're not going to want, you're probably not going to want to read the light paper anyway. So it doesn't matter what they say. But to anybody that's been smeared or had their genuine ideals smeared by these hateful smears, basically by the media, they'll instantly know, hang on a minute, are these guys speaking the truth then? I mean, when Mariana Spring, interviewed us for Conspiracy Alarm, the subscriptions went up something like 10%. We got a good few exes because people hadn't heard of the paper, and as soon as they doth protest too much, people are like, oh, okay, I didn't know about it. And we've published a couple of letters from people who sent emails to the BBC saying, "Dear Mariana Spring, thank you so much for interviewing Darren of the Light Paper. We know such a great publication existed, so keep on with the marketing."
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's that whole sort of thing about cancelling someone. You try to cancel somebody, and everyone then wants to see the show that was trying to be cancelled. So, and you'd think the BBC would have learnt that lesson from way back when they were trying to sort of stop people listening to certain Top of the Pop records, and then they would sort of hold them back. And then actually you think, well, maybe that's all manipulation anyway. They're just trying to get more sales. So, who knows? So tell us about.
Just to say, when the Mariana Spring BBC thing broke, about 3 o'clock that afternoon, I got a text from Daz, and he said, "Hey, we've got a new free publicity department." So he sums it up really, you know.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, yes, more of that then, please. So tell us about the anthology then. Where did that come from? Where did the idea come from? And what are you going to have in it? Because if you've got 3 years of great articles, it must have been a nightmare to go through and work out. And how is it presented?
Oh, it was great fun.
Well, I was just going to say, to be honest with you, that's the reason why I gave the person who had the idea for the anthology, for the annual, I gave him the responsibility. For picking the articles and organising it and basically taking charge of it, which is why we're speaking to Richard today.
Richard, so over to you.
Well, I've been writing articles and publishing books and editing books for 35 years. I just love writing. It's like the old cliche that I often say is I came out of the womb, writing, or in
pen in hand.
Or in the kind of Middle Ages in a previous life, I was one of these monks in a monastery who spent my whole life copying kind of
away
or something. I'm not. It just has to be something like, because I get such pleasure from writing and drawing stuff together and asking people to write things. Whenever I'm about, there's always a warning about, oh my God, you're going to be asked to write something, any minute, because Richard House is here. So it was something that just kind of came to me. I don't want to claim that I kind of own the idea. I think ideas come to us and come through us in some mysterious way that we really don't understand. And it just came to me. I put it to Daz. He seemed very enthusiastic. He was very enthusiastic. I think he then said someone else had, at some weekend gig or something, had made a similar proposal. And I was expecting that, Daz being the editor and knowing the paper better than, anybody else, would be the person to pull together the articles. But he absolutely, unleashed.
But he hasn't got time, probably.
He kind of unleashed me. That's quite a dangerous thing to do, actually. But and so I just love going through the first 36 issues. I made a list of the articles I thought were really good. Only about 140 odd, and then after a conversation, we thought 100 would be like a really good sort of symmetrical number to have. And so we then honed it down to 100, and then I tried to fit them into parts, and they fell very well into 15 different parts. Each part has about 6 or 7 articles in each part, so it's a very well balanced book as well.
So when you say parts, do you mean like themes?
Themes parts. So I've got the leaflet here. So part 1 is science and truth. Part 2 is big tech and technocracy. Part 3 is climate, geoengineering and 5G, and so on, right the way through to part 15. So it's a kind of book that you can kind of dip into as well. I mean, I do hesitate to call it a kind of light coffee table book, but yes, it is the kind of book that, I mean, we've all got particular interests, and we've all got things that don't interest us at all. And so I think having it organized in that way makes it very easy for people to dip into it and immediately go to the things that they're really kind of moved by.
What struck me was then, if you were new to the light paper and say you'd only been watching or reading for the last 2 or 3 months or something, it's obviously going to be an opportunity to see how stories have progressed.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
Over the last 3 years.
When I first met Daz at one of his legendary parties about a year and a half ago, I really remember him saying, the thing about the light is it's a record. it's a record of what's happened and what's happening, and that
Yes.
really stayed with me. Daz, you might like to say more about that. Yeah.
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 Cool.
No, I was just going to interject there. Do you send a copy to the British Library?
Yes.
Yeah. So that record of truth is there for people to look back in the future. So yeah, no, carry on.
Yeah, funny enough, they did contact us, and I wrote back and said, "Are you sure? Are you sure you want a copy of the Light? Like, yeah, whenever it's a publication, we have to have it in the British Library. So, yeah, they're on the subscriptions list basically.
Oh, fantastic! Hopefully, there's nobody in there redacting stuff left, right, and centre. You know how these organisations are doing that.
Yeah, well, it looks like Winston Smith's works online, so. Which obviously is the point of doing offline publications and doing real world events, face-to-face events where we get to meet people and talk directly, but we can't be censored. So we were talking about again, because I envisage it as a book that activists will hopefully get for gifts for their less aware friends and family, for Christmas, leave it with them. And exactly kind of what Richard just said. So it's split into all these topics of science, technology, and big tech, and medicines and what have you. So the person that gets it, and assuming that it's conspiracy, whatever, they're still going to open the contents page and go to their specialist subject.
Yes.
So I love the way that's I would have just probably done it chronologically or something boring like that, but to click to collect into subjects will get that person engaged, hopefully, and just see if just one story it's like that doesn't jar with what they know, and there's a reference there they can go and check out online for somewhere outside of the mainstream media, the mainstream knowledge bubble, Wikipedia, etc. And that might start them on a journey. At the end of the day, that the paper was created so that we could really, people could sow seeds everywhere. You're never going to directly wake people up. You never know where a conversation or leaving a paper is going to lead. Who's going to pick that up on the bus, or whose house you've just dropped it in, or who's going to read it in the chippy on a Friday night. So like I say, it's an opportunity for us to get further there, because generally activist families are, we've all tried. It's pretty hard to once you've had that first conversation, you're a mad one. You don't go along with the government and the television and the experts. So you're a crazy one. We're not going to listen to anything that you say. But here's a book, and it's there's doctors and professors and all kinds of specialists have written great articles which are all referenced. Check it out at your own leisure. Now let's talk about the football or the latest films or whatever else.
And it's true, isn't it? Isn't it still true? Even though anybody can publish anything these days, there is still something about it being in print, in black and white, especially as a book. There's something about holding a visceral or a physical object in your hand and going, well, there's got to be something in it because they've gone to all the trouble of printing it. Because anybody can tweet things and put things online, but it's a lot more involved, as you know, to actually put this into a book form, and then there it is. So tell us about what will it look like, the physical object itself, how big and all of that.
It'll be A4 size, 200 pages, hardback, glossy outside, full colour inside.
That's a lovely book.
Yeah, it's like like your old hardback annuals when you used to get Beano and Whizzer and Chips and all those guys.
Yes.
Showing our age now. Do they even have comics apart from Viz?
Yeah. Yes, although the content might be a bit more serious than Beano, maybe.
It's also gonna be colour right the way through.
Wow.
I got the first proofs 3 or 4 days ago, and it just looks incredible. And this is the moment to give a shout out to Mickey in Mexico, who's just done an amazing design job. It really looks very, very beautiful. Which beautiful might sound a strange word to use, but I'm beginning to imagine that it is going to look like a very, very beautiful book. And the truth is beautiful, and so it all kind of fits. It all fits together, really,
Well, I think the fact that you've gone to that extent, that you put it in colour, and as you say, it's going to look very beautiful. A lot of stuff that is on the freedom and the truth movement, because a lot of people don't have a lot of money, they're doing it the cheapest way possible, and whilst the content is valid, sometimes the presentation loses a bit because of the money required to do it. And when you present something that looks absolutely as if it deserves to be on a bookshelf and or on the shelves of shops, and you're handing it as a gift, it doesn't look like it's come from that nerd in the corner who's, sort of got something online from some nefarious website. It looks legit, and I think that's how it ought to be.
It's not a fanzine, that's for sure. It definitely is. It's not a fanzine. Yeah.
Yes. Well, there you are. You put it much more succinctly than I did.
Yeah.
Can I also say that just to link into what you were saying earlier, for me, it really is a research resource, and I'm talking as someone who's been a researcher. When I used to work, when I had a professional life, I was university lecturer and researcher over 20 years or more. And the thing about the Light is, it's not just a populist newspaper. It is a research resource, and I've got to make a kind of slight confession. I've got a bit of a fetish about indexes, and the book is going to have a really good index. And a few months ago, I suddenly was inspired to index the whole of the first 3 years of the newspaper. So for those researchers who really want to research a particular subject and the way that it's been represented and written about within the newspaper, they just have to go to the Light website, downloads, find the index, and you've got a 25-30 page very complicated index which will take you straight to the issue on whatever subject you're in. So this is a research resource, and I think that's really, really important.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's dedication. That is dedication, but so useful.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was just going to say, how do people get hold of a copy
of what
of the anthology?
I think I'll leave that to Daz, but that's something that you kind of do online. And certainly here, we're going to buy 40 copies, and we're going to sell them. We're going to sell them at our Christmas party and to friends and stuff. And I'm not sure 40 is going to be enough, actually, from all the feedback that people are kind of so excited about the book. So we're buying a big kind of bulk order here. Yeah.
Right. And I guess other people can do that as well. If they've got a group, they can they can buy a number of them and then distribute them and sell them, or raffle them, or do whatever once they've got them.
Oh, raffle them! Oh my God, I haven't thought of that one. That's a great idea. At the Christmas party.
At the Christmas party, there you go. People don't know they're going to win it and go, "Wow, look at this! It looks amazing."
Yeah, all anybody needs to do is go to the Light Paper website, thelightpaper.co.uk. There's banners on the top, and it'll say Brightest of the Light. Click that, and you'll be able to order between one and, well, probably not that many actually. Obviously UK and Ireland only. If you want more from further abroad, obviously send a bit of extra postage. We'll probably sort it out for you. But it is going to be a limited run. So once it goes to print on the 1st of December, we won't be taking any more orders. So it will be a limited edition thing.
Right. So when do they need to get their orders in by?
By 1st of December. So it's 3 days. 2 days,
blimey.
Depending on
right. Okay. Yeah. So better be fast. So if people do want to buy it in bulk, that's a good idea, because then they can then sell them on.
Yeah.
Presumably, or hand them out and gift them and all of that, which will be fantastic. Let me just show the cover again, if I can just find my mouse there. Well, I found the mouse, as my partner always says. It's the cursor you want to look for. There it is. It looks absolute. That's part of it. I can't show you the whole thing. Well, I can show you a big blow up, but that I don't know why it does that. The Brightest of the Light 2023. Get your orders in. Go to the Light Paper website, which the link will be in the description to make it nice and easy for you. but I do have it written down here somewhere. It is thelightpaper.co.uk, and there's that funny bald bloke. And if I come back, this is the website that you'll see, and you'll see you can also get other previous versions of it. I'm just looking for the where is the link so that people can see it?
Right there, Brightest of the Light.
Oh yes, there we go. The Brightest of the Light book. Just click on that, and you will be taken to the page that tells you all about it. How fantastic! Well, thank you very much indeed for coming on the show and telling us all about that, Darren and Richard.
Thank you.
I hope that we can get the orders out. I shall release this. This will go out this evening, so as an extra special, because time is short. Absolutely. But people, as you say, have you got many orders already?
Yeah, we've already got 100, 150 orders, which is where we thought we might do 100 of them. But it's looking like we'll probably order a couple of hundred, depending on how many more people want one between now and Friday.
And I should ask how much it is, I suppose.
20 quid.
20 quid. There you go. Look at that.
Postage and packing.
Yeah, fantastic.
So yeah, what I was going to say, I just want to thank everybody out there who's helps to distribute the light paper, who helps to write it, who contributes, who donates. And it's the only way that it keeps going. Once people don't want it anymore, we'll stop. But as long as we're getting it right, and it's a very useful tool for people, we'll carry on for as long as people want it. So it's a tons of gratitude for being in this position. Doing a worthwhile job with your time is extremely satisfying, even if it's knackering.
Yes, I can imagine it is. And I have this feeling that although we've gone through this lull, that you guys are going to be very busy in the forthcoming months as certain things start to happen again. Sadly, in some ways, but we've got to get the news out, and the light paper is a brilliant way of doing it.
It's good that we've got the tools and we've got the network and we've got the distribution and stuff ready to go. You know what I mean? This is 3 years ago we had nothing. Now we've got groups all over the country that are lobbying councils and just making things happen. You know what I mean? Building community, etc., etc. So we're way more advanced, way more prepared for the next avalanche of crap that comes from the rulers, from the ruling cartel.
Well, they're not going to be ruling for much longer if we've got anything to do with it. So that's my point of view.
Yes.
Brilliant stuff. Lovely to have you on the show. I'll get this out as soon as I can. I do hope people will get their orders in, and it will be a fantastic read. And so there we are, the Light anthology for 2023, all those wonderful things. Thank you to Richard and Darren for coming on and telling us about it. More power to your elbow. And I look forward to the next month's edition of the newspaper, of course. So there we are. So there we go, ladies and absolutely my pleasure. You do such a sterling job. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful stuff. Do check out the links in the description. Get your orders in, and I will be back with more monologues and interviews, of course, in the next episode. But until then, from Darren, Richard, and myself, thanks for watching, and goodbye.